Like in many ways?
Oh, you know, I don't go down there often. Last time was probably that time. Yeah. For whatever reason, we don't make our way down there, even though it's so close. But yeah, we've been thinking about going again potentially. We're looking at like what is it? The east coast of Mexico. Yeah, like what is that place? Cancun. Something like that would be a fun trip. Albuquerque? Yeah, the thing is though, right now we're kind of like, should we travel this year or should we kind of be tight on expenses? And we're kind of leaning towards the tight on expenses. Well, at least I am. Sophia's always down to travel. My wife. Oh, for that area, like the open area?
Yeah.
You know, that whole area has always been kind of open computing or desks. When we had a lot more staff at one point, like years back during the crypto boom market, and since then it's just kind of been, you know.
It was like, oh wow, it's kind of like, I saw like
Yeah.
way more people there.
Yeah, we still have like our main desks over in the corner in that whole window area because everyone wants to be by the window, and that's always pretty much where it's all stacked up. But yeah, have you been to Mexico recently?
Not super recently though. Like I think the last time was like 4 months ago. Yeah, I want to go back again. I should make.
Excuse me one second. Hold on a second. I'm getting audio feedback here.
Okay. So interesting. So the cancer causes her to
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
produce too many blood cells, and that is the thing that causes complications like blood clots and stuff that would end up killing you.
It's been referred to as like leukemia light, and eventually it can scar your bone marrow enough that you do end up with leukemia and progress. So that end. But it would be blood clots because the red blood cells are released too young and they're irregular.
Oh.
And so they can start combining and get so many of them they start.
They like kind of stick together.
Yeah. And then she's got a bunch of other comorbidities. Yeah. It was a crazy year. That started in January, and then Memorial Day that year, this amazing, awful headache that she was not functioning. We found out she had a KRE1 malformation, so her brain was falling down onto her top of her. The brainstem was going out of the skull and compressing the top of her.
Out of her skull?
Yes, that's what.
So there was like a hole, or
Well, your spine
when you say
connects
out of her,
up.
down the bottom. You're saying down the bottom.
Down the
Oh,
bottom,
I see.
it
I
starts
gotcha.
Falling out. Basically.
Yeah, I see.
And you have to have decompression surgery.
To release the pressure.
Yeah, so they take out a little piece of your skull.
Right.
Put a little. Sometimes they'll put a mesh in to hold the brain up, but they kind of shave her top vertebrae, round it down, and after the decompression surgery, a year later, she hadn't healed enough, and they diagnosed her with EDS.
What is EDS?
Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. That's
Say again.
Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Okay.
That she's hyper flexible.
Okay.
But that
Okay.
because of that, her collagen doesn't grow correctly. So the muscles did not,
Dang.
knit back together the way they should on her.
Right. Right.
But she dislocates everywhere.
Yeah.
I've helped her.
And she's had that for a while?
Well, she was always, hyperextending and.
Okay, so she had EDS.
Yeah, she
Yeah, okay.
had that.
Yeah,
They
okay,
didn't
okay.
we didn't know. You know,
Yeah,
like
okay.
Constant sprained ankles.
So is that a risk for that particular surgery?
They probably would not have
Check,
done it if
check,
they knew she had EDS.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And her case was, I'm from Iowa, and she was getting treated at the University of Iowa. And the doctors, you know, she'd hear when she'd have an appointment, they would tell all the residents, you've got to come look at her. You'll never see a case like this again. Because she had so many of the markers. Yeah. It's crazy how she dislocates, and I've had to help her get her ribs back in place, her shoulders, elbows, all of her fingers, every joint.
And is it all about as painful as you'd imagine, or is it? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And she can't get on disability.
That's rough.
And and then other stuff just kept developing from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why can't she get on disability?
They say she could have a sitting job as a telemarketer.
All right.
But the brain damage that she's had with the PRA.
Feel free to make your way to the podium. We're about to get started as far as talks.
Crazy.
Grab a seat, grab some pizza, some drinks. We're about to get started. Hey, good to see you.
Me too. No worries. Typically, I do that, so I'm practicing listening. It's good.
Cool. Yeah, grab a seat. We're about to get our talk. Yeah, Jeremy, right? Yes. Cool.
Is there a restroom right there?
Yeah, just go down and then left rank.
Everyone's waiting. Oh.
Single use or what?
Nope.
Yes. Oh. How many?
One stall in the shower.
You want to go first?
There's only one person can go at a time?
Only one person.
Yeah, okay. I guess I don't have to go that bad.
I really don't either, but I'm just going to force it.
Ah. Whoa. It's like a pee pad. I mean, I guess it is.
What's your name?
Jonathan?
It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Gus.
Nice to meet you guys. I'm doing one of the talks today.
Oh, you are? What's your presentation about?
The Godot game development.
Oh, I'm interested in watching.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You mind if I go?
Yeah, you can go first.
Thanks.
Check.
All right, everybody settle in, okay? Awesome. Cool. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. This is quite the crowd, so I appreciate you all for coming today. This is our, can't even think of how many times we've held this event, but second year into DevX, and just want to get some slides going to kind of explain what we're about, and also we have a couple of presenters that are going to be presenting today. So let's get started. Can everyone hear me through this mic okay? Yeah, cool. All right. Welcome to DevX, hosted by Edge. Can we hear okay? Turn that up. All right, cool. All right, a little bit about us. We're just a community of like-minded developers here in San Diego. Come together just to like share ideas and grow together, help each other out, and in general just be kind of like connected on the same type of front, which is being a developer and what that's all about. So obviously if you're here, you're either interested in being a developer, maybe just interested in the space, or you're already a developer. So kudos to you. So let's see here. Big shout out to our organizers who make this event possible. We have AJ, Tristan, myself, Zane, and Ezekiel. Tristan wasn't able to make it today, but if you keep coming, you'll for sure see him at the next event. So just a hand of applause for them. I really appreciate it. Cool. And shout out to Edge. This space is hosted by Edge, so yeah. A little bit about them. Quick disclaimer, I do work for Edge, so if you ever have any questions about them further than what I'll explain, feel free to come chat it up with me. Edge is a self-custody crypto app, wallet, and exchange platform. So we make it easy to securely store your cryptocurrency, your assets, all within your hands or your keys. So we're also highly focused on privacy, which means that if you are really interested in that, having your own funds, and also making sure that you kind of are the only one who knows, that's also something we really care about as well. We believe that's a high principle that we hold. And last but not least, we're also open source. So you can fully check us out at github.com/edgeapp. All of our front-end code, back-end code, all that stuff, aside from some more critical like login stuff. But yeah, you can check it out, PR, whatever you want to do. So really open to the community for that as well. So check out Edge at edge.app. That's the domain. So you can also install it and give it a try. It's pretty cool. Also, big shout out to our sponsor for today, Kelly at Elite Staffing, who provided so graciously pizza today. So thank you, sir. I don't know enough about the recruiting world, but as I'm a developer, but I would like to invite Kelly up to the stage for a quick little shout out about what she's all about and what she wants to share to you today. So please welcome Kelly.
Stand over here.
Sure.
Feels less intimidating.
There you go.
Oh God. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Okay.
If it gets too quiet, this will get.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I do tech recruiting. It was funny when I was connecting with a few of you, I realized we're already connected, so that felt cool. I've been doing tech recruiting for 10 years. I used to be at a staffing firm called Proven. That's more familiar, but been at my own thing, Elite Staffing, for 2.5 years now, and we just put the pieces together, kind of a matchmaker in that sense. But right now we're partnered with 45 companies. They are all U.S. based. Some of them have some nearshore efforts as well, but pretty well spread. I'd say 20 of them are here in San Diego. The others are in other places in the U.S., but their talent is in a lot of different places because of that. So some of the Texas clients I was just with last week are hiring here in San Diego, and vice versa. So I've been trying desperately to grab all of you on LinkedIn, but you can also find me on the website or work backwards to LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect. Lots of different skill sets, lots of different skill marketing that we can even do. Sorry. That means if you have a talent and maybe one of my clients isn't looking for that skill set, we can do a skill market to some other contacts or help you explore the network and the market and even give you some resume tips if that helps. But I was telling telling someone else earlier, always connect with a recruiter. You just never know when that relationship's going to be valuable. Or even if you're going through an interview process and you just want someone else's opinion. I literally just had a candidate call me on Friday saying he has 2 offers, what should he do? And I was like, oh, this is great. I don't have either of them, but I'm curious to learn more. So it's always something you can use now or in the future. So happy to be connected, happy to have some pizza, and let me know about other events.
Cool. Thank you. All right, and just so for the record, elitestaffing.tech. Feel free to check that out. Yeah, awesome stuff. Thanks again. All right, this should have been probably already known, but if you haven't connected to the Wi-Fi, our Wi-Fi is Edge Guest, and the password is I like big bits, all lowercase. So feel free to connect that way if you haven't. Restrooms are down the hall to the left when you exit. There shouldn't be a bathroom code, but if there is, the code will be posted right here, 1595. So. That's a little bit about our facilities. I'm sure you all know we are on Luma. Some of you have probably found us there. Others might have found us through Meetup, and if so, we like to let everybody know that's our main source of communication and our event scheduling. So check our Luma out, download the app, lu.ma/DEVxNetwork. That's where you'll find us there, and keep track of our events that we have planned this year. All right, our agenda today. We've already done the lunch, hopefully, and thanks again, Kelly, for bringing the pizza. And we also have lots of good drinks, so hopefully you guys are all filled up. Our speakers today we'll go over. We have 2 speakers, and we'll have them talk and do their little presentation about 20 minutes each, at most, probably 15, 20 minutes each. And then after that, we do like to do a little community announcement where anyone can come up and introduce themselves if they're new, or feel free to talk about what they're interested in, why they're here, share anything with the community. So it gives them everyone a little bit of a chance to have the floor, if they so please to. After that, we'll just go straight back to hanging out and talking about the cool things that were talked up here, or just connecting and doing kind of what we were already doing earlier. So we end that all around 4 o'clock. So that's when kind of doors close, but not a super hard stop. We're not going to just kick you all out, depending on how we all feel. All right, so without further ado, here's our speakers. First, we'll have Jonathan be speaking about an intro to game development with Godot, a platform that you may or may not have heard of. And then after that, we'll be hearing from Ezekiel. We'll be talking about his sort of workflow or building process. So a little bit of kind of like a developer experience type mind share. So with that said, let's welcome our first speaker up, Jonathan, to the stage. All right, get you all connected here. Okay.
Check. Hey everyone. Does that work? Well, you tell me.
Push the button again.
Push the button?
Flip shit one more time.
This one?
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go. You're good.
All right. Okay. We're going to do a demo at one point, so I'm going to plug a mouse in.
Audio for the demo? No? Okay.
We're not going to get that far, I don't think. Okay. Okay. I think this will work. All right. Welcome to Intro to Game Dev with Godot. I am Jonathan Lewis. And I worked as a software engineer. I started learning game dev in the last few years. And the last 2 years, made 14 small games during game jams with Godot. And basically what I do is I work with other people to help them complete games. So this is for anyone that has some experience programming, just because if you don't have experience programming, you're going to have to take just a slower approach. And interested in game dev. Who here is actually interested in like doing game dev to some degree, just playing around as a hobby, anything like that? Okay. Where's that? Okay. Does this work? It does. Okay. It's upside down. You know the arrows are backwards if you have it upside down. Did you know that? All right. There you go. Okay. So why would you use Godot? It's free and open source, which is cool. So you never have to worry about paying for anything. It's quite easy to use. It's very easy to get up and running. You can iterate pretty quickly, so you can starts up in just a few seconds on a brand new project. And then even with a project that you've been working on, it starts up relatively quickly. It does support C#, and then you can distribute to any channel. You have to do an extra step to distribute to consoles, but for any other channel, you can distribute to pretty easily. One of the things that you'll want to keep in mind if you do want to make something, be kind of excited about it, and is either if you are an artist, of course you can create your own stuff, right? You can draw things yourself, or one of the things that holds people up is they're not an artist, and I know a lot of you probably are programmers. So there's actually a lot of assets out there that you can use similarly to the way you would use open source software. So you can use it. Some of them do require attribution. Just say, hey, these assets came from this place. But it can help you stay motivated building something that actually looks pretty fun and cool, even though the majority of the work that you did was the programming. So keep in mind, I'm going to do a demo after this, but we're going to start with 2D, so not 3D to start with. And do something like puzzle platformer. The reason is because the engine itself is oriented towards that. There's a lot of tooling. In fact, that type of game is like you get a lot out of the box with it. So you'll see in just a second. And of course, have fun. Make sure you're having fun. If you're learning, make it as fun as you can for yourself. OK, so we're actually going to get into a demo now. And we'll kind of go through all the steps of what it would actually take to get started. So the first thing that you would do is go to their website. And you can just download straight from the Godot engine website. So I'm going to download the Windows build. Do you have a mouse pad, by the way? And you'll see how small it is. So it's 65 megabytes, almost 66. Pretty small. OK. Yeah, let me switch the screen sharing. Thank you. That works. There we go. There. Do you actually have a real mouse pad?
Oh, that paper is better than
Oh, OK, OK. OK, I think this is.
texture works better.
Yeah, like two's better than one. Look at it.
We don't have too many gamers out here, so.
This is my tech stack right here. 2 sheets of paper.
Gamers use mouse. Take note.
OK. All right, so we've downloaded it. I'm walking you through. Okay, so this is interesting. All you actually have to do is open it up, and you can just drag it to your desktop. You don't even have to do like an install. Now I have it already, so I'll just open it up. Okay, so let's create a new game, and let's call this DEVx. We'll create a folder for it. Choose, where I want it to be. In fact, I'll just put it on the desktop. I'll create a folder. Cool. Cool. All right. So this is where we're actually going to get into using it. So, assuming I'm really new, I did talk about starting with a 2D game, right? So let's make a 2D scene here. Now, on the upper left-hand side, normally what you'll see here is the scene tree. So this is where you'll see. It's kind of like the DOM. Who here does web development? Familiar with the DOM? Okay. If you're not, it's basically just a hierarchical representation of the current scene that you're in. On the bottom left is the file system. That works a lot like an Explorer in your operating system. And to add things here, I can use the shortcut Control-A, or I can click the plus. So let's click the plus. And I want to get something moving around. That's usually what you want to do. It's fun, right? So let's add some character. And I can actually add something called a character body 2D. And I don't see anything yet. I just added something, but I don't really see anything interesting at the moment. So there is that little dot, but I am not going to see that when I run the game. So let's do this. I have an icon for now. I'm just trying to see if this works. Oh, there we go. We'll add this in here. And I want this to be a child of this little character. So anything, whenever an object moves, all of its children will move with it, typically. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little script button here. So this will attach a script to whatever node I have selected. So I have this character body node selected. And I'm going to attach a script to it, because I want to be able to control it and make it move around. Now, because I'm assuming I'm super new at this, I want something to play with, because it needs to be fun. And out of the box, it will actually provide a basic movement template, which is pretty handy. One of the reasons that I grabbed this character body 2D node. So let's create that. And I can choose what to call the file here. So let's call this DEVx hero. Cool. So this is our DEVx hero. Now this is our script. It looks a lot like Python. You can take a second to look at that. Yeah. Does that work?
I think it's
Oh, too big. Okay. So you'll see a lot of conventions that are pretty common in some other programming languages. In fact, this is so similar to Python. I mean, the function definition keyword is slightly different, but using this language is pretty nice. And you do use var. It's like a mix between JavaScript and Python. It's kind of a little bit of the vibe. OK, so we have this script. Let's go back. Now, up top, you can see there's different panes I can access. So we're in the script one. Let's go back to this 2D one. And let's see what happens if I try to run this. OK, so it's saying I don't have a scene defined. Do I want to select the current one? So there's no scene that's identified as basically the entry point. That's all that's saying. OK, so yeah, I want to use the current one as like the entry point, and I have to give it some name. So let's just call this whole game, because right now my whole game is just this one little scene. So, and it falls. That's great. That's progress. OK, so let's see what happens if I press an arrow key while it's falling. So I'm pressing arrow keys. Hey, it's moving. That's progress. Thank you. Thank you. This is great, right? So let's just add something for it to land on. So let's add a collision shape. We're going a simple route here. Now, if I hover over this little thing, it's like, what am I doing wrong here? I have to have a, actually, yeah, I need to have some shape to it. OK, and then this one is saying it has no shape either. OK, so let's do this over here. Let's add a shape. And let's make it just a rectangle. Let's make it bigger. Here we go. Now, presumably, this little thing's going to collide with that. And we're actually going to add something called a static body. There we go. That represents the actual object. And then this is just the collision part. So let's go back up to here. And we'll add a shape to this one as well. So Control A. Let's add the collision shape to this one as well. And we'll make this one a rectangle. And we'll say that it's about as big as our little character picture here. OK. So now I believe if I run this, I think we're going to see it land. There you go. Now there's no image representation of that collision I made, but it is landing on something. So this is where what I would do is I would typically go grab those assets that I talked about here. So if you go on itch, now I have tagged already on the left-hand side. I tagged free, and I tagged platformer. I could tag some other things if I wanted. But I can actually just, there's a lot of stuff here I could grab and start playing with. So I downloaded this one. So we can actually go to my downloads. Here we go. And then let's open up my project here. And I can click and drag from my Windows Explorer over here into my project. And now I can start doing stuff like adding objects in here. So I could add coins. I do have a little, I've got some platforms here that I could add. So what I could do is I could add this in here. I could make this part of the platform. What I would need to do, though, is I need to be able to control. I want to show part of the picture, not the whole thing. So that's just a different type of texture. So let's just do this, just so I can get a platform I can see. And now with this edit region, I can control what part I see. So I'm going to slice this up automatically. Don't worry about these steps too much. There we go. Now I have this object that we can actually see. Pardon me. And let's line this up here. And let's stretch it out. Now, still not going to look great, but at least we're getting some better idea. Right? All right. I'll pause there. Thank you. And that's how you get started with Godot. Any questions?
That script language showed, is that their scripting language, or is that mixed?
It's GD script, and it's a Godot specific language, yeah. Yes?
Can you explain in more detail what a static body 2D is?
A static body 2D, it's a physics object.
Okay.
So it comes, it's like a, like a standard library in a programming language. If you think of it like that, it's something they provide for you. And it is a type of physics object that is never expected to itself like move and cause interactions with other things. But other things could interact with it, essentially. Yeah.
So when the physics engines run, it's not
I see. So that's flagging the physics engine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. More questions? Yes?
When you were first learning how to use Godot, what resources did you use to get from 0 to where you are now?
So one thing that I did was a lot of like project-based learning, and I would just keep it small. And then I would, I'd be like, okay, I'm trying to do this thing. I need a name. I need like, I don't even know what to call things, right? So I do have in here in the slideshow, what's next? So these are the things that I did. Thank you for asking that question. So I would go to, so this link here on the bottom left is a YouTube video, and it'll tell you every 2D component in Godot. So you'll learn the vocabulary, and it'll give you some idea of what they are. It's just 9 minutes long, so it's like super dense. But if you watch it, it's basically like learning everything that's on a Swiss Army knife, right? And then you go, okay, well, I'm trying to solve this type of problem. And what I would typically do is do some YouTube searches, and I can give you specific channels that are pretty good. But that's essentially what I would do. And then look up the docs, of course. But small project-based learning, I've never done character movement before, so let's make a little game where you just control a character. I've never done something where you pick up objects before. Let's maybe add that. So based on that, Google searching YouTube videos and the documentation, I would say, yeah. Yeah?
So given this is pretty cool and open source, what's left of a reason why you'd use Unity?
Yeah, I mean, if I wanted to go get hired at a company, there are way more job opportunities using Unity. So I would make that choice if that was my goal. Another reason I might use Unity is if I really want to just get a lot of stuff out of the box. There's just so many resources for Unity. Like I can grab a plugin for that, a plugin for that, and I can sort of glue together a huge game from lots of pieces. If you are a software engineer and you can code and you can build things and you like building things, those are some reasons why Godot might actually be a good choice. But yeah, does that answer your question? Yeah.
Do you personally prefer Go.native script or something else to use for scripting? Any other language? And if it's the reason why?
Yeah. So in terms of what it feels like to write it, I like using GD script for the same reasons I like Python. And I do choose to type as much as I can. So almost everything gets typed, statically typed when I write. It's not required, but you do get some optimization benefits. And the main thing is other developers and you later know what you're looking at, right? And it's more predictable. That being said, GD script is not as mature as a language as something like C#. So it doesn't have a module system. It doesn't have the same sort of dependency management. So those are things that are being worked on. They're not as high as priority as some other things. So if I were actually working on when I'm working on games that I want to play on the web, I use GD script because I can't get something to play on the web using C#, unfortunately. But if I was building a big game and it really was going to get delivered and I had a lot of people working on it, et cetera, then I would more seriously consider C#. And especially if other developers were familiar with C#, I would probably make that choice. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Cool.
Totally okay if this is too much, but I was wondering if you had any of games you built yourself or that other people made that you thought were interesting. You could just give us a demo of what can you do with Godot?
Yeah, I can show you pretty quickly. Over here on itch, this is where I'm publishing most of them right now. So we can just go to actually my dashboard here probably. Or actually here, let's go here, look at oh, there we go. So these are a few games. So I think I did put them in relative quality order. So this is kind of like a Jump King game, if you've ever heard of that. It's a game where you have to jump up really high, right? You keep jumping?
Oh no, like doodle jump.
Probably.
Yeah, doodle jump, man. It's like this.
And but the thing about this game,
Oh man, this was big.
so this one's a lot more forgiving. Oh, there's wind though. So, but there we go.
That's so cute. Oh my goodness, I love the little frog.
Yeah.
I like
So
the
there's
design if you choose to jump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
using the cursor for jumping is fun.
Yeah, you choose direction and how hard to jump.
And then this one's probably an interesting one. This one. And normally when I build these, I'm working with teams. Specifically, I want to work with teams. I want to get really good at working with teams, and I want to be able to basically solve big problems or create big projects with teams. So I'm typically the lead programmer and producer on these. So here we go.
Goodness.
Let's see, shift, I think. There you go. And then, can I click? Okay. So then do I dash? Oh yeah, there we go. There we go, I'm killing these poor things.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness,
Okay, so now I need to upgrade. Let's make this thing more powerful. All right.
Maybe you should have another presentation on your games.
It's over. We're gonna play this game now.
Yeah, if you do want to go check these out, it's jonathandavidlewis.itch.io.
Post in the Discord.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please, yeah.
Or any of the multiplayer.
We have one that's multiplayer.
We'll join at the same time.
This one's multiplayer.
We'll play after talk.
And we made this in about 1 hour. So we did way more planning than we did developing. Let's play single player though. Oh man. Oh, I can't hide there. I forgot. So we did this in 1 hour. So it was sort of like a distributed architecture, so that everyone could work in parallel. It was all like event based. But yeah. So there's a multiplayer version, but it's kind of complicated to actually
You have to have
work.
like a server and use sockets.
So I use WebSockets.
Yeah.
So there is a signaling server to connect the two clients. But other than that, yeah, you do need a server though. Yeah. That's it.
Any other questions? All right. Well, give a hand to Jonathan here. Thanks so much. It's awesome.
All right, and next we do have. You still want to give your talk? Or you want to play some games? Everyone, give a warm welcome to Ezekiel. So I have this here and then that there.
Beautiful, stunning.
And if you want to get to sidebar for more tabs.
Oh, okay. I think this will be perfect, just like
Cool.
this.
All right. All right, I'm gonna go.
Actually, can you tell me, is there a shortcut for the back button? Actually, I probably don't need it. Like if I hit this. And then
You can swipe 2 fingers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Fair enough.
Let me get this though done here for you.
You just duplicate it would be perfect.
Let me, yeah. Display settings.
Is my mic feeling good?
Let's see. Make sure the.
Hello, hello. Everyone hear me okay even though I'm talking gently? Yeah. That's awesome. It doesn't sound like I'm speaking through a mic up here. It just sounds
That's what it always trips me out too.
Yeah, it's a little.
There we go.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, whoa. How did that flip?
Oh no.
Got backwards.
I
That's
gotta-
not good. Mirror. There you go.
Nice.
Now we're
Perfect,
good.
stunning,
Good.
immaculate.
Okay.
Couldn't have done it better if I did myself. In fact, couldn't have done it myself at all. Okay, hello DevX.
Thank you all for coming. Wow, what a great presentation on making games. I'm excited to go home and use Godot. Thank you so much for that. It'd be hard to follow up. Not quite as exciting as making games, but I'm gonna be walking through my process for when I have an idea and I want to build an MVP. Just trying to quickly get from how do I get from me thinking about something to it existing. And this is kind of not exactly like a formal researched way of doing it, but just having built hundreds of projects through trial and error, I learned that there's some things I always do, and these are the things I always do. I'm going to be building this little chat app where it's not really chat, it's actually no ulterior motive, but a feedback app for you guys to leave feedback on DevX events. And I thought that the way, like a fun way of doing this would be letting people give public responses. So instead of like a Google Forms where you put a response in there and then you never see it again, you can actually see everyone else's responses as they're giving responses, like a chat, as if you're messaging in a little public form. And it's going to be live, it's going to be anonymous, so you can start leaving messages, and I hope that doesn't get abused, but we'll have fun with it. And that was the idea. So I kind of had this idea of making a presentation, and when I'm thinking about making a presentation, I like to use mind maps, but here I'll put up real quick the QR code. If anyone wants to check out the app on their phone, it's optimized for mobile. You can scan real quick. It's called feedbackx.easyeasy.win. You can very quickly get into it, and as I'm talking, be able to leave messages and see other people leaving messages. If it doesn't work, that's because I'm an awful developer and I built it in a few hours. But it should be kind of a little fun experience. And I'll bring up this QR code a few more times if you decide you want to bring it up later as well and see what other people are posting. So this is a mind map I made, and it's going to be kind of like a meta presentation of this is a mind map on how to make plans, like a plan of making plans. And the goal is I want to engage you guys as an audience. I want to share my experience, provide value, give you something that maybe is going to help you in your own projects. Because that's kind of what I come here for, a large part of it. And selfishly, I'm getting feedback. The way I'm sharing my experiences, I'm also going to try and trick you all to giving me feedback on how these presentations are run, how these events are run, so that we can provide better experiences. So that's kind of like, you can see right now, this is a mind map where I'm just thinking out loud, but instead of having a formal write-up like a text document like I might do for my work, or they might ask me to do when they're trying to present their projects to other people, it's easier for me to use a software like this to quickly throw my ideas on a board, and it's easier for me to share it with other people. So I really like these mind map flowchart type softwares. Makes it very easy to quickly create something and share it. So I'm going to be using a real world example. I thought about using MARP for presentation, but I decided against it. So MARP is it's like an alternative to Google Slides. And we've had a presentation here on it before if you've come through, but it allows you to use, it's a fun way to make slides in like an HTML syntax that you can use transitions and everything. But anyway, so, okay. You have an idea. If you don't have an idea, you need to brainstorm and come up with an idea. And there's lots of ideas of how to come up with an idea, but this is, you have the idea. I'm starting from there. So you have an idea, and before you start planning, before you start building, the most important thing is to go through an idea validation process. It doesn't have to be long or tedious depending on how big or how much time you want to commit to this project. You can take it through various things, but the first thing I usually do is get feedback from close circles. So the first thing I did was I messaged AJ and I said, hey, what about this idea? And he said, that sounds great. I love this idea for your presentation. You're going to ask people about it, and it's wonderfully meta. And then after that, you get feedback from experts. So of course, ChatGPT should be the first person you talk to. You just say, hey, here's my idea. What do you think about it? Not really, maybe not ChatGPT, but it is a cool tool to be able to bounce ideas off of. An example that I thought of is an app I made a little bit ago was targeting people who were in real estate or did Airbnb work. And so I actually found people who were real estate agents, and I called them, and I wasn't trying to sell them anything. I just wanted to have a conversation about their expertise, and they're very happy to talk. If you go into it just being like, I'm here to have a good time and hear about your day, people are like, yeah, I want to tell you about what my 10 years of experience in real estate has been like. And I'll say, this is what I'm trying to build. What do you guys have as a suggestion for me? What needs to be in there? And people would tell me, well, it really needs to be dead simple to use because I have no idea how to open my phone. And I would say, got it. This is the user base I'm dealing with. And this also might be a good time to mention that this process, even though there's like eras, it's not linear. You oftentimes go through these stages and then come back. You might get feedback from close circles and experts multiple times throughout the planning phase, and I'll touch on that as well. In idea validation, I want to make sure that if I have an idea that the technology exists for me to be able to create it, and if it doesn't exist, that I can actually bring it into existence. So I'm looking at research on what kind of tech I use, and then also similar product research. A lot of people think that, oh, if someone else has already made it, then it's no good. But this is actually the opposite's true. If someone else has made it, that means people like it for some reason. It works. You have this real world proof that someone else is doing it. If someone else hasn't done it, you're either in a very rare situation or there's something wrong with this idea that's not going to let it work. So when you look at similar products, you want to be looking at how do you differentiate yourself? What niche are you fitting into? An example that I think about is Uber and Lyft. Uber, obviously very big, but Lyft exists in the same space. And Lyft originally was trying to provide safe rides for women. In the beginning, that was their whole target. And that differentiated them enough that it was a powerful motivator and allowed them to grow and then eventually grow beyond that small niche. So if nothing exists as a problem, and I had an art teacher once tell me, art professor, she said, all art is either a rejection, an improvement, or an embracing of history. So I feel the same way when I'm building things. I'm either trying to improve upon something, I'm rejecting it outright, saying, no, that's not right, or I'm saying, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. Some things I might do in my product research is, so for this example, I'm getting feedback from you guys. I could have just done a Google form, right? I could have put a Google form on the website, told you all to check it out, and that might have been just as effective. So I have to really ask myself, is it worth going the extra step? What differentiates me between Google Forms? Well, I really like the idea of people being able to engage live and see each other's responses. If you're on there, I hope there's chats going up. I could check it out real quick. I really enjoyed, let's see. Hey, we have some messages. Hey, sup? Yo, DEVxFam, good to see you. And so I like the idea of being able to have this communal live participation so people can see other people's feedback live as it goes up. We'll have an anonymous feature. I feel like this is far more anonymous than if Google Forms makes you sign in to leave a response. So I also might look at GitHub, FOSS free and open source software. There's tons of open source projects that people license and let you use as a starting point. If I wanted to make this a bigger project, I might be seeing, hey, does someone else have an open source project that is similar enough, and I can go from there. All right, I have my idea validation. I'm feeling good about it. I'm ready to start planning. So I'm going to make this mind map, which is kind of weird because we're talking about the mind map that I've already made for this presentation. But this is when, after the idea validation, I would start with my mind map, trying to write it all down, organize my thoughts. Things that also might be part of the planning phase. A formal write-up. If you're planning on taking investors, very important to try and have like there's lots of templates online if you look up idea write-up or formal write-up for an app. You can find white paper templates and fill them out. But the having a formal write-up is good. Mind map is easier for me to understand and process my thoughts. I might do a mind map first and then a formal write-up. A design and a prototype. So I'm coming from the perspective of building web apps. I love building with web, but I'm trying to think this process would be good for anything. Like even if you're trying to find a date or something and you wanted to plan out what is your ideal situation look like, you could use the same process. So you could say, hey, should I really be dating now, friends? Ask your therapist and expert if it's a good idea for you to be dating. I don't know. This is the same process. So with my plan for this specific project, making this presentation, I might have a design. And so Figma is a really cool design tool. You can use Photoshop. It doesn't have to be complicated, though. You can grab a piece of paper. You can literally just on a piece of paper write an outline. You don't have to be an artist. You can use Microsoft Paint, open it up, and just quickly draw a couple rectangles to demonstrate how you want things to be laid out. And I'll skip this process when I'm building sometimes, but every time I do, I regret it. Having a simple design it speeds up the process. You'd think, oh, well, it's going to slow me down to have to flush it all out. But actually, it allows you, before you start building, to go back to this nonlinear process of getting more validation on your idea, showing people your design ideas, and someone will say, hey, well, how do I do this on it? It looks cool, but you're missing something, and it's easier to spot you're missing it here and then refine it. You can go from your design stage and go back to researching similar products. You say, oh, I realized in my design I need a messaging feature. And so what does my text message app look like? What does Facebook Messenger look like? How are they aligning things? Maybe I need to have a timestamp. Who is pizza? You have timestamps for each of the messages, and knowing that those timestamps are there in other messaging apps and where they put it and how it doesn't take up space, it feels good. Those things are really useful. So you've gone through your plan, you've gone through your idea validation, and you're ready to start building. Before I actually start building, there's one more step I like to do, which is start to look at my 2-week, my 2-month, my 1-year, my 5-year goal. This isn't strict, but this is trying to give you an idea of you want to set goals and objectives and figure out what timeline works for you. It's not that you need to rush yourself, but knowing how much time you have, what days. So for a 2-week goal, I might be asking myself, what day can I work? Can I work Monday, Wednesday, Thursday on this from 4 to 5 p.m.? I might be saying, hey, my only goal is just to get my first design done and then take it back to review. That's what I want to do with this first stage. And setting simple short-term goals, very good, but the long-term goals, you may not be ready for those long-term goals, but setting those long-term goals are going to help you make your short-term goals. So like if I want to find a sponsor for that, let's say instead of just making it for this one event, I wanted to make a whole app ecosystem where someone can use my tools for getting feedback from any of their events or from any of their communities. I could adapt this same idea, and then as I'm getting feedback from people on what this looks like and seeing what people do and don't like about it, I can keep them their information in mind, say, hey, I have this app now, it's ready. I want you to be one of my first users. And if I'm preparing for that and warming up those conversations when I'm getting feedback, it makes it much easier when I get to this step where I want to start collecting users, start getting sponsorships for building it out. And so these long-term goals help shape the short-term goals. And then I'm hitting up the QR code one more time. If anyone wants to check it out, I'm going to put it up there for just a couple of seconds. You can scan the QR code, or it's feedbackx.easy-easy-win. I talked a little bit about how the mind map might work, and now I'm going to actually show you the mind map I made for this specific project. It's a little bit lower. I tried to keep it a little simple. So for the mind map, I have kind of my top theme on top, which is just I have the DEVx feedback form, which is what I'm making. What are the concepts? I want it to be live, simple, interactive. I want it to be simple because it's probably only going to be used today, and then I'll turn it off and it'll be gone. I need a back end and a front end for it because I have messages that multiple people are going to see. I need it to be stored somewhere. So I had to decide, how am I going to store that information? Well, for me, I was deciding to use technology I'm already familiar with, Pocketbase, to store the messages in a SQL database, SQLite database. And then for the front end, I'm using a starter template I already had kind of thrown together, which used Daisy UI components for CSS library, Vite, React, CapRover for easy deployment. And then this is just me getting together before I start building, what is it I need to make this project exist? My front end needs two real things, an overview of all the topics, and then the topic responses. You can see that as I went along, some of these areas I crossed out and actually added extra little notes to myself. At first I was like, let's let people add a name so that they can have a name next to it as they're making posts. And I said, maybe anonymity is simple, but also a feature. It's not a bug, it's a feature. It helps me keep everything a little easier to engage with for if someone's feeling shy about something they want to leave feedback on. And then for topic overview, I was like, I'll use ChatGPT to generate my topics and kind of have it help me come up with some ideas. And then when I was looking at my feedback, here are some ideas I had for my 2-month and 1-year feedback, which I'll probably not take this any further than today, but it's kind of a fun exercise anyways, just to show you what the mind map would look like, but also to think about how something, even a simple feedback service web app, very simple like this, it would be able to grow beyond what it is. So a couple other ideas I had off on the side that were just independent were, what if I open sourced like a one-click deploy solution where you could have a feedback service, instead of trying to sell it as a service, just let people clone a GitHub repository and press one button and it runs on their own server and they could take feedback if they wanted to. And I thought, nah, that wouldn't be bad. And it wouldn't be hard to take what I have now and get it there. But that is, in totality, a little peek into my process of taking an idea to a minimum viable project. And thank you for sitting with me to talk about all those points. Kind of sped through some of it. Thank you.
All right. Do we have any questions, and should we take them on the chat app or not?
If you have any questions, you can open the chat app. Let me scroll back over here real quick just to the QR code if anyone wants to scan again. Go ahead.
What tool was it that you're using for the brainstorm itself?
Mm-hmm. So I'm using a mind mapping software, and there's a few of them out there. The one I recommend is called Minder. It's free and open source, and they're very easy to use. It's very intuitive. Unlike a lot of like drawing or apps or flowchart apps, the idea with mind mapping software, what differentiates it is it doesn't require you to look at a YouTube tutorial to use it. You can open it up and usually with a few guesses of key clicks, have your mind map going. This specific one is called Simple Mind Pro. It's Windows only, and I paid for this one, so I don't usually recommend it, but I do. I found this one before Minder, and then when I switched to a Linux operating system, I found Minder and use it as well. So, but there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of, if you search mind mapping software, you'll see there's one for your taste specifically that might suit your needs. Does that make sense? Did I answer? Yeah.
I'll start over here.
So you built a lot of MVPs in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
My question is about, like, probably share from your own personal experience, how, like, what you try to market those MVPs if you had some point, like what works for you specifically, like Product Hunt, Reddit, X, Like your opinion about it, like to market MVP.
That's a great question. So when I build MVPs for work, I don't have to worry about the marketing. But when I do it for myself, I have a background in sales, so I have a lot of experience just having conversations directly with people. What I'm likely to do if I want to, which I would say everyone's different. If you have an advantage in an audience or content creation, you can always do something like that. People talk about building in public and making YouTube videos or TikTok videos. You're doing it. Something works for everyone. What works for me is just talking to the people who would be using it and asking them to try it out, and showing up to events or calling people, or that's been really comfortable, effective for me. That answer your question?
Yep. Thank you.
Of course.
On the slide, what was MRR?
Monthly reoccurring revenue. And also in the Discord, this little mind map is available in the event talk channel, so you can check it out, download it, no problem. It's just a PNG image at this point, and if you wanted to refer to it.
Cool.
Any other questions that I can take? I'm happy to, if anyone wants to say anything.
Any questions on the board? No? Okay. Well, thank you, Ezekiel. Give a round of applause. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let me get back here. Oh, this is what. Okay. Well. All right. Can you hear me? Cool. One more round of applause for our speakers. Appreciate you guys. Some very interesting stuff. Games, thinking about things. Man, this is what we do, right, as developers, which is a lot of fun. I just like to close off. If anyone's interested, perhaps to come up on the stage that want to announce themselves, say hi to the community, want to always give an opportunity for anyone who's just new or fairly interested in like ideas, projects, things that they're doing. Quick raise of hands if anyone's interested in doing a quick shout out. So let's get you up on stage. Come on up. Feel free to introduce your name and what you're about and what.
Oh, yes. My name is Edward Chu. I'm an electrical engineer. Because there were just 2 presenters today, I was going to ask consensusly, audience, would you be interested in seeing a game demo, something that I did a long time ago? But before I jump in, I at least want to have more than a majority say.
Okay. Raise of hands. Raise of hands.
Okay.
All right. Look, I think we all like the game ideas, right?
Right, well,
games are fun.
This is kind of quite, shall we say, retro, in that it's a Super Nintendo game. And I've done a lot of things in my life. And so years ago, I did do a Super Nintendo game.
Can that actually connect?
Of course it can.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Using phones? Nice. Let's see.
Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and start. That's not what I meant to do. Okay. So, let's see. So, years ago, there was a movie called Demolition Man, and there was a Super Nintendo game license for it. Now, this is running off my phone, running at an emulator for Super Nintendo. I have a Bluetooth controller. Let's make sure it's good. It's connected up. I don't know how many people remember a movie from the 90s called Demolition Man.
Who remembers Demolition Man?
Okay.
Yeah.
do people here recognize Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. So, anyway, I'll go ahead and start this. As the person who wrote it, I know of all the cheats, including some cheats that have never been published, although they don't have anything to do with the game per se. But, okay, so for some reason, the sound
probably won't. Oh, there we go.
Well, yeah. This is a rather dim level.
So you made this.
Yes, I can say this is my small measure of international fame in that I'm mentioned in Wikipedia for having worked on this.
Wow.
So, yeah, so you take your
what was it written in?
Straight assembly for Super
Whoa.
Nintendo.
Wow.
65, 816. Back then, and this was fast, you could have it run at 3.58 megahertz.
Wow.
So, anyway, because I missed the power up, let me go ahead and, like I said, I know all the cheats, so I'm going to give myself some help.
Oh gosh, Super Nintendo were the days.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever had this one though.
Well, I don't know. Show of hands. How many people owned a Super Nintendo? Okay, not that many.
Nice. How many of those of you who owned a Super Nintendo own this game? All right, we got a buyer. Awesome stuff.
Oh well. Well, oops. Keep missing that. Fine. I'll just. What was it? I'm trying to remember the sheet for the
Up,
actual-
up, down, down, left, right, up. No. Will we be getting these cheat codes?
Oh, I could send them to anybody at this point.
All right. Send it on the Discord. Fun stuff.
This is a weapon that's not supposed to be used in this level. It's the cryo grenade, but since I didn't remember the cheat code, I didn't. I used a cheat code. When I modified this from the production version, I enabled all cheats, all weapons, and all levels. So.
In the background, it said EUS. Is that any Easter egg? When you're on the higher level.
EUS in the background? All I see is burning office buildings in the background.
Yes, these are fires. For those who saw the movie, that area of Los Angeles has in effect been taken over by. Okay, so that shows a power up that's not supposed to work on that level, so the graphics don't match for it. So again, give myself more health so I can. Anyway, well, okay, I'll go ahead and end this level. So in the movie, we go to 2032. We see him get thawed out from the cryo prison.
Is this something we can all play after this, as far as like on your phone, or can we download an app?
Phone,
Yeah.
Or you can tell you what, you can get a Super Nintendo emulator to run in Windows, probably others, and then I can give you the binary, and you can load it up and run it.
Cool.
So.
Okay, cool.
That's.
Well, thanks so much. Appreciate it. All right, so anyone who wants to go play games, either talk to Jonathan or Ed here, and we'll be playing games for the rest of the evening.
We're working on a Switch 2 port of the Demolition Man game.
Switch 2 port. Are they going to sell Switch 2 in the United States?
Is there anyone else interested in doing a quick announcement about themselves while they're here? I see a hand raised in the back. Come on up. Cool.
Right.
I think Ed is
the sub-museum level. Anytime you shoot Phoenix, you get a power up.
I just had I wanted to crowdsource some information. Are there any blockchain developers in this crowd? 1, 2. Yes. Okay. Are there any Go developers in? Not you guys. I know there's a couple.
Darn it.
Are there any Go developers in the group? Go? No. Rust? Any Rust developers? Anyone interested in any of those other 3 things? Yeah, there's one. You're interested in everything, I guess. Blockchain, Go, Rust. Perfect. All right. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Just trying to network with people.
I'm just trying to get some polling going.
Come on up. This is a good backdrop, by the way.
Hello everyone, my name is Jack Saitan. So I've been in DevX for a long time. So based on I was thinking I like what Tristan and Keys do, coffee co-working stuff like that. But I don't see a lot of on the East County side. So in East County, like San Carlos, La Mesa, El Cajon. So I'm looking forward to just to casually organize something like this, since June.
Who all here is East County side San Diego?
Well, maybe probably not a lot of people, but
Okay.
those just probably just like
Okay.
yeah, maybe like if somebody will be there, you know.
Would you
So-
want to be dropping maybe something on the Discord?
Yeah, we'll probably start thinking about something like this in June, not now.
Okay.
Yeah, so but like heads up.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Anyone else want to get up? Yeah.
Jonathan.
Every Tuesday. Is this on?
Yeah,
Is
sorry.
this on? All right. Every Tuesday at 6 o'clock up in Oceanside, we have a group of North County, we call it North County Coders. So feel free to come by. It is at the Belching Beavers in Oceanside there. So feel free to come by and meet with other people. There's usually about maybe 4 to 6 right now.
In Oceanside, where in Oceanside?
The Belching Beaver.
Okay. What day?
Just so you remember. That'll help you remember.
Okay.
I'm not really burping.
Okay.
No, human beings are welcome. You don't even have to be a programmer. Typically, we end up talking about programming things. We have someone there that works on, he's like builds operating systems as a hobby. So that's kind of interesting, the stuff he talks about. But mostly web development and some game development since I'm there, yeah.
Okay. Fun. All right. Thanks, Jonathan. All right.
Anyone else feeling an itch to say hi, tell us about something to the community? Raise your hands.
I wanted to mention I'm looking for a job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is after Wednesday, which is the end of the month, I'll be looking for a job. So I'm an electrical engineer. I'm doing something very different from obviously video games. Back in the 90s, I did cellular telephone equipment. I worked at Panasonic Semiconductor, RCA. Most recently, I have been working on instrumentation as an electrical engineer for nuclear fusion research. That job goes away on Wednesday. The Department of Energy contracts were canceled. So yeah, I'll be available to do other things.
Okay. Cool.
I'm sorry?
If anybody wanted to do any kind of nuclear...
Yeah, no, I'm
Raise the
probably
hand who's into
just
nuclear
saying,
physics.
I probably won't be doing that.
Cool.
Never say never.
Yeah.
All right. If anybody wants to talk to Ed about that, come talk to him. Cool. Thanks, Ed.
The question is, do you have a glowing report?
Sorry?
The question is, do you have a glowing reference?
Radioactive.
Scientist, how's that? And physicists, but you know.
Okay.
All right. I believe, is that everyone? Cool. Well, thank you all. I appreciate the warm kind of community that comes up on stage. Last thing I want to leave everyone with is just a little bit about us online. Follow us on our Discord. You can find all of our links, Discord, Luma, everything we talked about from DEVx.network, our domain. Yeah, you can see we're a really welcoming community, so we invite you to share and kind of be a participant on our active Discord, where you can find all of us talking about some really interesting and cool things and sharing. But also gives you a chance to submit a talk if you're interested yourself as well. Our website has a form which you can submit if you're interested in giving a talk. We welcome everyone to talk about pretty much anything developer related that pertains to this community. So that is it. That's all we have for today. So thanks again. Feel free to have some more pizza, some more drinks, and yeah, thanks all.
Cool.
Good.